Hello, welcome to today's bio class, year 8, and this is the first chapter, so we're going to talk about a little bit about biology, all right? So before I start, during the lesson, if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat box or just use your microphone, okay? All right, so let's start. So what is biology? Bio means life, logy means study. So basically it means that it's a study of life. And life means about all the living things, plants, animals, fish, birds, humans. We are all living things. So we have a lot of living things and non-living things. So some of the living things, can you tell me? I just told you, right? All these examples before. Good. And what about some of the non-living things? What kind of non-living things can you find around your house, around you right now? So for me, like I have a TV, I have plastic bottles, I have paper. These are all non-living things. So today we are going to talk about cell structure. So before that, we need to know what is a cell. So a cell is the basic unit of life, and all the living things are made up of cells. Some of them are made up of one cell, some of us are made up of lots of cells. So, for example, humans, birds, animals, plants, we're all made up of millions and billions and trillions of cells. And all the group of cells together make up different structures and parts of our body and parts of the plants, like stems, roots, flowers, leaves. Just like for humans, we have different organs, we have different body parts. These are all different uh, kinds of living cells that aggregate and group together to make a specific structure. So in biology, the first thing that you need to know is that there will be a lot of different figures and structures, and sometimes you will be required to draw the structures in your exam. So as you can see here, these two structures are quite big and they have quite detailed structures, but for your exams, you would only need to learn these simple structures. So let's get into the topic. Most of the living things are made up of cells. Cells' shape varies according to its function. Plant and animal cells differ in size, shape, and structure. Plant cells are usually larger than animal cells. So you can see that here the plant cell has quite a regular structure, a fixed structure, as you can say, but the animal cells does not have a fixed shape. And from the picture, you can see that the plant cell is kind of a rectangular shape, but it does not mean it always has to be a rectangular shape. It could be a hexagonal shape, it could be round, it could be different kinds of shape. But for animal cells, they're just like a blob. It could be any kind and different sizes. Okay, but usually the plant cells are larger than the animal cells. And how can we see them? You cannot just see the cells, a single cell. So we have this instrument called a microscope. And scientists use this microscope to magnify and visualize a single cell and all the structures that are inside the cell. So for your syllabus, you need to know some of the structures and their functions. So let's look at this animal cell, and you can see that it does not have any regular, not even a proper round shape, right? So there is a cell membrane, which is like the outer wall, just like you live in your house and we have walls just like that. And then there's a fluid filled structure where all these little structures kind of float around like in a swimming pool of fluid. So this is called the cytoplasm, where most of the chemical reactions happen. And the central dark spot is called the nucleus. So nucleus is like the brain of the cell, just like our brain, our mind tells us what to do and what not to do. Just like that, the nucleus determines what kind of cell it will be and what kind of function it will carry out. So it contains the genetic material that we acquire from our parents, like the DNA, right? And the genes. Okay, so these three structures are common in both animal and plant cell. As you can see, the labels are on both the sides. But plant structures cell structures differ a little bit because they have a few extra structure, and you need to know this, and it's very important for your exams. So starting from the outside, there is a thick wall called a cell wall, and then the inner wall is the cell membrane. And then the orange fluid-like structure that you can see here is the cytoplasm, the dark spot nucleus. But they also have some extra structure like these bean-like structures, the green colored structures called chloroplast. This is what gives the plant usually the green color. And these are important because they can make their own food. Just like animals and humans, we need to eat food. Plants have no mouth, right? So they do not eat food. They make their own food by using sunlight. And they have this empty space like a bag inside which contains certain juices called the vacuole. It is important for the plant. We will learn all of the structures and their functions in details, but right now I'm just trying to introduce you what are the structures and where are they and how do they look like, and also tips of how to draw them, right? So basically the plant cell have approximately 6 structures that you need to remember. An animal cell is very simple, 3 structures, no shape. And if you want to draw a plant cell, try to always draw a rectangular one. There are different kinds, we will see it later, but we don't need to learn that. So these are exactly how you will be questioned in your exams, okay? And after every chapter I will try to do some exam style question answers to prepare you more for each topic. And let's go to the next one. So tips for drawing: always start from the outside and work inward. Sorry, the line is not straight, but don't worry about it. Okay, all right, so from the outside it's the cell wall, which is another extra wall around your house, like your fence. Okay, so if you think you live in a house, so the fence is kind of like the barricades. It's like the cell wall. The wall of your house is the cell membrane, and then all the parts and rooms are different structures. Then we have cytoplasm, chloroplast, nucleus, vacuole for a plant cell. And for the animal cell, you just need to remember these 3 parts, okay? So if you want to draw a cell wall, you just have to show a double line. So let me just show you here. So if you want to draw a cell wall, sorry, my drawing here, I cannot manipulate this pen very well, but this is how it should look like. So we could say that this is the cell wall, and this one is the cell membrane. And here it's just animal cell, the cell membrane, okay? All right. So for animal cell, you can learn this little mnemonic called mice nibble cheese. Very simple. So I will always try to give you little tips at how to remember them, and when I was a student, how I used to study these things and how I used to remember them and do well in my exams. Okay, so mice nibble cheese means M for membrane, which is cell membrane. N for nucleus, which is like the dark spot, the brain of the cell. Let me just show you once more here. This 2 here. And the last part for the animal cell, if you need to remember, is the cheese. C for cytoplasm. So remember, mice nibble cheese. Okay, so this is how we will draw a plant cell and an animal cell. So look at the structure here, and try to remember this structure, and I will ask you to draw on the screen on the empty spaces, and let's see how you can do. All right, and that's about it for today. Our time is up right now. So we are going to continue to learn about the structures and their functions, and in more details about their similarities and differences. So this was more of like an introductory class of how and to draw these cells and what are the structures, and to get acquainted with biology chapters. Okay, so thank you very much for your time, and I will see you next time. All right, If you have any questions, feel free to ask anytime. I will try to answer. Bye.